Hi everybody, it's Ellen from the library. How are you? It's a rainy day here today. I hope it's not raining for you. I want to tell you about all the things we have for you in your January, February family literacy packet. Starting of course with books. So if you're a little kid, you'll get a board book of some kind. I hope you like them. And then the older kids, of course, get chapter books to read. So I hope you enjoy your books. And you know, if there's something that you especially like, ask your mom or dad to send Priya a text and let her know, and she'll make sure that she sends you that kind of book. And then in your packet, you'll also get our newsletter put together by me. And I wanted to tell you about a couple of things that are in the newsletter. One is this column where I talk to you about how you can access all the events and activities, the virtual ones, that are going on through the Santa Clara Library. And they're all free and easy to find, so you can sign up for them and enjoy them online. Lots of story times, lots of things for grown-ups too. There's an ESL book club, and I noticed next month there's going to be a program on getting your garden ready for the springtime. And then at one of our events recently, we talked about learning a language online, and through the library you can go to Mango Languages, and I explain how to do that here, and use your library card to log in, and then you can study, I think it's 11 different languages, and they also include English. So if you want to do some English practice, you can do that. And last but not least, all about our craft project for this month. I'll show you how to do that in just a minute, but there's a picture of it and I hope you enjoy it. It's a quilt. You can see I love quilts. I make quilts myself. I'm wearing a quilt that I made, and I have a quilt on the table that I made too. And so we'll talk about the story time and everything else in just a minute. Also in your packet this month are some special fun activity books for you. If you're a younger kid, you'll get one of these scissor skills books, and it has a little pair of scissors, and then it has a pad of different kinds of activities. So you do two things. First you cut them out, and then you can play games with them. There's mix and match games and puzzles and a lot of different things to play with them. If you're an older kid, you'll be getting a book from Klutz. This one is a Lego chain reaction book where you use the Legos to build all kinds of machines to do different kinds of chain reactions. So I think you'll have a lot of fun with these, whichever one you get. In your packet too this month, there'll be a handout that is just for your age child. It's from Reading Rockets, and it has tips for parents. This one's for first graders, and then I have one for preschoolers. It'll give you some ideas on how to help and support your child's reading. Some of the tips for first graders are to always bring a book or magazine along anytime your child has to wait someplace, if you're going to go to the doctor or you have to wait for something else, if you're going to the car wash, wherever you're going to go, you can always have books and magazines in the car to read. And another thing that you can do is read along with your child. That's good practice for everybody, to take turns reading different sections of a story that they're working on. The other thing that's really important is to make sure that the books that they're reading are the right level for them, because it's really frustrating. Usually first graders are getting going on their beginning reading. It's really frustrating if they're trying to read a book that's too hard. Some of the tips for parents of preschoolers are you do want to try to read together every day. And when you read, if you can read with expression, have fun, ask your child questions about what you're reading, make different sounds or hand gestures. If some of you have seen my story times, I always do those things in story times, and it really makes the book come alive for your child, and it engages them and keeps their attention. Another important thing for comprehension, which doesn't have to be hard, and comprehension is the understanding that your child has when they read a book, is just to very simply ask them questions like, what do you think is going to happen next? Or why did he do that? Who's your favorite character? What is he looking at? What do you think he's thinking? Whatever would work, whatever questions sort of fit with what the storyline is of the book you're reading. And the most important thing is to have fun spending that time reading together with your child. Hi, it's Ellen. I want to show you how to do your quilt block craft this month. So this is one I already did, and I'll show you how to do it. So in your packet, Priya sent you a little plastic bag that has all your little squares and triangles in it, and then this is your instruction sheet. So we'll put that, since I know what I'm doing, we'll put it over here. Let's take all of our pieces of fabric out and see what we have. So what you got was, you got one special one, and then you got two of the same kind like this, and everybody got different ones. And in fact, in your family, if you have a brother or sister, and maybe you guys can trade around if you want, so you get two like this, one like that, and then you also get 4 triangles, and so you can mix your triangles up so that you have 2 different triangles together to make a square as well. So there's a lot of different combinations you can put on you'll also get your handout, and Priya was going to put a glue stick in everybody's packet. What you'll need to have is a pen of some kind, doesn't matter, it can be a crayon, pencil, whatever it is, just something you can write with. And if you want to make any changes, a pair of scissors as well. So I gave you on the instruction sheet a lot of different ideas for different ways that you can arrange the blocks, but it's really up to you. Just arrange them in any way that you like and that looks good to you. So the one thing that's a good idea is, if you want to have a center block, the block that you got that is just a single block is good to put in the center. So I think on this one today, I think I'm going to put these 2 pink ones in opposite corners. And then I'm going to put these 2 multicolored, I love this fabric, it's one of my favorite fabrics, in these 2 corners like that. Now I could just stop there if I wanted to, because that's a 9 patch. You see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 squares to put your fabrics in. But I also have these triangles, so let me think what I want to do with these triangles. One thing I could do is I could put them in these 2 places, like, let me see, like this, and I could have a row of going all the way across that look like that. If I like that, kind of makes an H, doesn't it? Another thing that I could do is I could leave these 2 like that, and then I could put triangles in those blocks like that, and then I would have lots of empty spaces. And you know what, I think I kind of like that one actually. Another thing you could do though, let me just show you, is you could take the 2 of these triangles and make your center block out of them like this, and maybe do something like move those triangles there, but just move them around until you like the way they look. And I guess the only advice I could give you is that if you have some variety, it'll make it more interesting. But I think I'm going to go back to what I had before, if I can even remember what it is. Or you know what? I can do something like this. I think I'm going to do mine coming off these opposite corners, like that. And then I'm going to put this one back in the middle. That. So that's how I'm going to have mine arranged. Now it's really easy to glue them down. Just take your glue stick and you can just put some glue in the middle of the square and then glue your block down. Now with your triangles you have to be a little bit more careful, don't you? Because you don't want to put glue in the empty space. So just put a little glue up here at the top, like that. And what you can do now is in these empty spaces that you have, you can write the names of people in your family, like your parents' names and your brothers and sisters' names and your name too. Or what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to write my daughter's name and the name of all her cousins. So let me get my green pen here and I'm going to write Callie in this block, and then I'm going to write Samantha, that's her name, in her block, and then we have Tony, so I have to pick, so I think I'll put Tony's name here, and then this is your name quilt, so be sure to put your name. I'm Ellen, of course, and then I also like to put the date, so I'm going to put January 28th, 2021. So there you go. There's a quilt block made just however you like it. Have fun. I hope you enjoy it. This month's story time is all about American folklore and quilts. And one of the stories I'll be reading is the quilt story. That's the story of the way a quilt really was part of a family's life and became part of the family's history. We'll be singing one of our favorite songs, B-I-N-G-O, Old Bingo the Dog. And I'll have some draw and tell stories for you, and also a kind of a patchwork story called Grandmother's Aprons. So I hope that you watch the video. It should be of the story time. It should be pretty fun. I'm planning to have a lot of fun when I do it. Hi, I just wanted to show you a couple of ways that you can engage when you're reading a book with your child and make it more interesting and more interactive. This is the quilt story, and we can start by looking at this beautiful picture of the quilt at the beginning, and you can talk about all the things you see in the quilt. The hearts, the shooting stars. You can spell out the little girl's name, A-B-I-G-A-I-L, Abigail. And the quilt is really the most important part of this whole story. Then on this page it talks about how her mother stitched the quilt by a yellow flame. So you can look at the picture and see ask your child, where are the yellow flames? And then you can see that she's sewing by candlelight, and that's what makes the yellow flames. And then in this page it talks about how when Abigail gets sick, she loves to be under her nice warm quilt. And you can talk with your child about, do you have something special that you like when you're sick? Do you have a special blanket or maybe a special stuffed animal that you like to snuggle with when you're not feeling well? And that way you relate your child's life to the book. When you get to this kind of page, you can say, well, what kind of animal is that? What do you think it is? And ask them to guess. And there's a couple of different animals in here. And of course, it's always fun to make the sounds of the animals. Or these are little mice, so you can twitch your nose. That's good. And then in this part of the story, they move to a new house. And so again, you can relate, well, remember the time that we moved? How did you feel when we moved? And what was special to you that you brought to our new house that made you feel at home there? So there's just a few ideas of how you can enrich a story by asking questions and talking about it as you read it with your child.